Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
I'm a fan of man.
I'm
Hey,
the dark
everybody.
fucking prince!
Hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
My name is David Bell,
My name is Tom Ryman.
and we just watched The Devil's Advocate.
The fucking devil!
It's Al Pacino.
Yeah. Yeah.
In case that wasn't clear.
A world of power and seduction,
Who's that with the senator?
controlled by one man.
I swear he can hear us. Hell, he can smell us.
He will make your dreams come true.
Want to come upstairs and...
Now? He will grant your fondest wish.
I'm just warming my hands on your talent. You know what I see? I see the future of this law firm.
He knows your greatest fear.
Milton is into everything. Arms brokering, chemical weapons, toxic waste, money laundering for the Eastern Bloc. I mean, it goes on and on.
I don't like it here, Kevin.
And he knows the price of your soul.
That's spoilers. That's who the devil is.
Yeah. I mean, they treat it like a reveal in the movie, but that was like the marketing of this film.
Yeah.
A little,
exactly.
I mean, a little, like, within the movie.
Yes.
It's a reveal, but like every commercial and every poster, the whole thrust of this movie's marketing campaign was Al Pacino is the devil.
Who apparently didn't want to play the role. He didn't think he was good for it.
I read that. Like, it was something he turned it down, depending on what sources you read, he turned it down between 3 and 5 times.
Yeah. But before we get into that, I want to thank Burrito Mouth. Burrito Mouth is our Patreon producer who tasked us with this movie, which, boy, it's actually wild. The second patron also wanted us to do it. Like, I got a message yesterday of like, do the Devil's Advocate. And it was like, someone beat you to it.
Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised we haven't covered it sooner.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. There's a whole, the 90s, particularly the mid to late 90s, is a real treasure trove of movies like this. So,
oh, yeah.
I mean, we can mine this vein forever. But yeah, The Devil's Advocate is quite a film.
This movie ticks off so many boxes for me because it's like biblical on top of courtroom drama.
It's a courtroom drama, yeah.
Yeah, thriller. Tom, you said something that was surprising to me before we started recording, which is that you hadn't seen this movie for a long time.
I had not seen this movie since 1997.
Yeah, I watch this movie more frequently than I go to the dentist. Like, I this is just something that I regularly watch.
Sure.
I also don't go to the dentist.
I was going to say, yeah, that's not
But,
a huge benchmark for me anyway.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, no, this is something I see this at least once a year because it's the fucking Devil's Advocate.
The Devil's Advocate.
Yeah, it's all-star cast.
It kind of is. All right.
It casually has Delroy Lindo.
Delroy
in it.
Lindo, who is just like in the middle in this kind of almost tangential story, but not really.
I would argue he doesn't need to be in the movie.
No,
but
he
I'm
doesn't.
Glad he is.
You can cut him out, but I understand why he's there to show escalation. But it's this movie is 2.5 hours of basically Al Pacino trying to seduce Keanu Reeves. To his devil firm, his hell law firm.
Yeah. And so, this is boy. I mean, spoilers, right?
Well, yeah, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, the Keanu Reeves is a Southern lawyer. He's an aggressively Southern lawyer.
He's a Southern lawyer whose Southern accent comes and goes.
Yeah. Listen, this is not a role for Keanu Reeves. Like this
I don't know.
I
He
think
does
he was fine in it. No, I think he's fine in it. I do think this is not how we best use Keanu Reeves, right? I love it when he does stuff like this, when he plays an asshole, because it's not something he gets to do.
Yeah.
He apparently took a pay cut so Al Pacino could be in this.
Sure. That's a good move. I love Keanu. We all love Keanu, but you don't.
We all love Keanu.
This is not a movie without Al Pacino.
No. So he's a Southern lawyer with a religious mom.
Yeah, super
Charlize
religious mom.
Theron, yeah, as in early Charlize Theron,
early Theron.
Apparently she did this right after turning down Showgirls because she didn't want to do the nudity in Showgirls. But I guess this, I kind of get it, where she's like, this is an Al Pacino movie. I don't know. Showgirls is its own thing. I was going to say the nudity here has more intent behind it, but so does Showgirls. So it's also a much different context in this movie. They're two different movies. They're two very different movies.
Yeah.
Anyway, Keanu is working on finishing up a trial of pedophile Frank Sabatka.
Frank Sabatka from The Wire.
Yeah, he's got a real baby face in this.
He does. He looks like a cartoon imp. He looks like a little devil.
They give him magnifying glasses so his eyes are big.
He looks like an evil cherub in this movie.
Yeah. What is her name? The actress who is on the witness stand.
Heather Matarazzo.
Yeah, everybody's a person in this.
Yeah. Every single role is filled by somebody who is either was somebody at the time or is on the cusp of becoming somebody.
Yeah. And he's clearly did it.
But obviously, he starts masturbating in court.
Yeah.
This movie is not subtle.
No, it's not. All right, so talking about the idea of the meaning behind this movie, not really a conversation that needs to happen.
No, it's very obvious. Al Pacino's name is John Milton, which obviously that's the guy who wrote Paradise Lost, and Paradise Lost is where we get most of the imagery about the devil and hell.
Yeah.
It's if you've not read it, it's written from more or less from Satan's point of view, and it's more about, it's kind of like a tragedy. It's a little sympathetic to him.
Yes.
So
and they constantly.
Yeah.
They're constantly they know that the audience knows he's the devil.
Right.
Even if the trailers didn't tell you, they know, they make it very clear.
Yeah.
And he's saying stuff like, oh yeah, I also have issues with my dad, wink wink.
Mm-hmm.
Or you think I've never lost people?
Yeah, you think I never lost? Yeah.
Yeah. And so
and also Keanu, each time Keanu is presented with a moral conundrum, Al Pacino asks him 3 times. It's almost you can feel the fairy tale rules to this movie almost, because it'll be okay, so you gotta screw this guy over in order to get ahead. Do you want to do it? And Keanu's I don't know, maybe. Okay, because you don't have to. You can go home to your wife. I think I kind of want to go through it. Are you sure? He triple checks to make sure Keanu wants to do the dipshit thing.
Yeah, honestly, as the devil, he's not that hard to handle. That's sort of the point.
That's the whole point. Is
Keanu makes his own decisions.
Yes,
and he's just opening the door for him.
Right. He can't make anyone do anything. He
and in fact
gives them the choice to make, and then they make the choice themselves.
Yeah, and in fact, he's often like you said, where he's drop the case, go take care of your wife.
More than once he tells
him to do the right thing.
Yeah, more than once he tells him to do that. When his wife starts to have a breakdown, he's like, "You should probably quit this fucking case."
Right, but he knows what he's doing. Obviously, he's gaslighting everybody.
Yeah.
He subtly tells Charlize Theron to change her hair, knowing that that's gonna not. Keanu's actually not gonna like that.
Right, because she looks similar to Connie Nielsen, who is also in this movie.
She sure is.
I think this is her first movie.
It is. She had I read that she had just entered the country. She was new to the fucking country. It's wild. But yeah, so he Frank Sabatka clearly did it, but he gets him off anyway by poking holes into this poor girl's story. It's very clear.
Yeah, and there's an obvious that having seen the movie once before, even though it's been almost 30 years.
Right.
there's a point where he realizes that Sabatka is guilty and goes to the bathroom and is wrestling with it. And there's like a
sound.
boom, there's a boom and like a creepy whisper when he decides to do it.
Yep, it's the moment Satan saves his game.
Yeah, basically.
Is how I think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everything after this, what we learn, you could argue is a hallucination, but I really think it's Satan being like, save game. If it doesn't work out, we'll just go back there.
It's Last Temptation of Christ. It's him having the vision on the cross.
Yeah, but yeah, it's the flushing of a toilet, I believe, and they just make it sound like really like weird. Mm-hmm. And that is the moment that the guy, the press starts talking to him, who is the devil, we learn. So yeah, it all checks out, right? Like he kind of appears in the bathroom, I think, because you don't notice him before that moment too.
Yeah.
But yeah, he talks to him and he's like, "You never lost a case. You gonna do it this time?" And Keanu decides no, he's gonna help this guy, this pedophile, go free.
That's the theme of the movie. Well, I mean, one of many is
vanity.
It's vanity, and he keeps prodding at his vanity. So it's like this whole, the reason he decides to go ahead and get Sabatka off, even though he knows he's guilty, is because he doesn't want to lose. He has like they very sweatily tell us, a 64 case winning record.
Right.
So the next two cases he wins gets him to case 66, Dave.
Ooh. But more importantly, after that, 69.
Eventually, yeah. But like the Craig T. Nelson victory
number
is 66.
Yeah. So they go and celebrate at a roadhouse, Southern Lawyer Roadhouse victory party.
Sure, like you do.
Charlize Theron's there, and she's as much of a fucker as him. That should be noted. Like, she doesn't give a shit.
She works for she's also kind of bent because we overhear her phone conversation. She works for like a repo company or something.
Yeah, and like she knows what's going on.
Yeah,
right. She's like,
aware.
Oh, you want another case? She doesn't care that it's a pedophile. She says it at one point, like, we did this.
Yeah, and that sort of plays into when she loses her mind later, where she's aware of what he's doing, but is sort of just kind of burying her head in the sand.
Right. She definitely gets punished more, I would say.
Yeah.
But she's also a fucker. They're both like shitty. They're shitty. Yeah.
They're little shit fuckers.
Shitty Southern Lawyer shit fucker couple. Celebrating at a roadhouse. A guy offers him a job, to which Keanu thinks it's a joke for some reason. To which he says, "The black thing. You being black, whose idea was that?" To the guy. Yep. And he's like, "That's real good." And it's like, why is... All right. I mean, it really sets him up as being a weird fucker, but like...
It doesn't land quite the way it's...
because I was like, what?
He's being racist, but like, he's like, oh, a black lawyer. But like, it doesn't... It's such a weird moment.
He's being racist in a very weird way.
Right. Like, I can't tell if it's weird because of Keanu's performance or if it's weird because... of
it's a weird line.
It's a weird line, or if it's weird because we just have like 40 years of built up goodwill for Keanu Reeves. Right. Where like when he's trying to be a racist, we're just like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's like he's commenting on. He's like, "Oh, nice going with the black thing," and like the guy should be replying with like, "You mean like being born black? Like
what are you talking about?"
Yeah. And it's like, do you think they planned this as part of the prank? That they were like, we need a black guy for this? It's like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm not mad yet. I'm just confused.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like it's definitely a racist comment.
Yeah,
but it feels like I need more information for it to be definitely racist.
Right, I'm trying to figure out how it is. Like, in what way? It's such a weird moment.
You have identified my race.
Yeah.
What are you trying to say?
And you're being weird about it, like it's a joke. So anyway, it's a strange moment.
It's a strange moment. So they bring him to the big city. His religious mom is like, quoting Bible.
Don't
shit
go to
at
the
him.
big city.
Yeah, she's
basically
great.
She's
doing exactly what they need her to do.
You can picture her in your mind right now.
Yeah.
Is it the same? Is she the same lady from the Green Mouth? Does it hurt yet? I hope it does. I hope it hurts like hell.
I don't know. I did read she's only like 10 years older than Keanu Reeves.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they try to comment on that. Like, we learned she had Keanu in this movie when she was 16.
Yeah.
But
they
she
like,
is
make her look way too old.
They try to make her look old, and I guess they figured out partway through shooting that she just doesn't look that much older than him.
So they put a bunch of shit on her.
We better say
Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
Charlize Theron is 21. She's 10 years younger than him in this.
Damn.
Which is wild. Yeah. She's 21 and she's doing like naked scenes with Al Pacino and shit. And it's like, Jesus Christ.
Is she naked
when I was
with Al
21,
Pacino?
I didn't do shit. Not with Al Pacino, but
with Keanu she is.
Yeah.
And she keeps morphing into Connie Nielsen. That's a weird scene. Are we going to go beat by beat through this, or?
I don't know. We can.
We haven't even said how we feel about this movie.
We haven't. Well, this movie for me, it's like it always is. It's there.
It just exists. Yeah. It's like
what does it matter?
It's like when you live by the ocean.
Exactly.
You just kind of look
alpha
outside.
And the omega.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah. This movie is silly, right?
Yeah. But it's also kind of good.
Yeah, but it's kind of good. It's in that weird twilight where you watch it and you're like, this isn't terrible. Like, they're doing stuff that I kind of like. I like how they deal with the concept of the devil up until the part where Al Pacino is just screaming as the devil.
Yeah.
It reminds me of The Omen, where they do a lot of where it's like the devil doesn't like the stuff where people's faces morph and become demonic, and it's like you're not quite sure what's at play. Is he possessing these people? Is it just the work of the devil, the systemic things in place, creating, it's sort of that Rube Goldberg idea, like that's in The Omen, where it's like he's pushing things in certain directions, but you can't quite tell to what extent. I like the creepiness of this movie, is I guess what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's such a strange movie, though, because it's not a horror movie.
There's horror elements to it, but it's more of a thriller, and it's more of like a psychological thriller. I don't know. This movie kind of fucks.
Well, here's the thing about this movie. In my mind, that makes it interesting is we don't really have movies like this. This is a really unique movie.
Did you notice one of the credited co-writers is Tony Gilroy?
Oh, what has he done?
Nightcrawler.
Oh, right. Yeah, that checks out. I forgot that Tony Gilroy did a lot during the 90s at first, right?
Yeah.
He went on to write Rogue One, and he did The Bournes. He did some of Armageddon, I believe.
Yeah.
And then he directed a couple things, but yeah, that's interesting.
Not to be confused with his brother Dan Gilroy, who is the director,
right,
of Nightcrawler and Velvet Buzzsaw and stuff. But anyway.
Right. But yeah, this is it's sort of a silly movie. It's sort of like we said at the top, the message of the movie is it's devil's bad, greed is bad. I think the most profound part of this movie was he says the 20th century, that's all me. Where he's like, you can't argue that isn't me.
Yeah. And
I thought that was an interesting idea. I think the part where he's making his case is really compelling as a scene. Because him talking about I'm a humanist,
even though it is Al Pacino just ham boning the joint up.
Yeah,
just being a big old ham. Anyway.
Yeah, but what he's saying is oh, that's a great take on the devil, where he's no, I'm just here to support humans. Where's God? He's not around. I'm a fan of man. It's got a lot of great Pacino. It's got the all-time best Pacino moment, which is where does he fuck? Everywhere. Oh, so good.
Yeah, such a good moment.
Yeah,
it's not. I mean, it's a pretty sweet movie.
For people who haven't seen it, yeah, what's happening is basically as he becomes more and more of a workaholic, he kind of distances himself from his wife, who wants to have a baby, and she starts noticing the demonic forces earlier. They do a great job with the woman who's like her like friend.
Her friends in the building. Yeah, they move her and Keanu into the same building where Pacino lives, and it's just they're all gaslighting her behind his back, basically.
Yeah. And how they slowly become more sinister is great. Yeah, the idea is she seems to have schizophrenia because they're doing stuff where like they'll look over at her and their face will turn demonic and only she can see it. And they know she knows, but they're not acting like it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they're doing like the scene. It's a really great scene, actually, montage where she's trying to paint the apartment green and her friend keeps shutting her down, even though if you notice she will be wearing the same color of green until she eventually paints it a color that Keanu doesn't like. So like they're fucking with her and driving this wedge between her and Keanu.
Right. That's the thing. It's motivated because the idea is that they need Keanu to fuck his half-sister.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why I need to qualify it with half-sister. It's a sister, and they need to fuck to create the apocalypse or whatnot, is the idea. So, like, Charlize Theron can't be in the picture.
Right. Or he has to not care about her one way or the other.
Right. So they're doing all these things to separate them and to alienate her. They also take away her ability to have kids.
Yes.
So they're just slowly, through these demonic forces, just breaking her down.
I love in that last scene in the finale in Pacino's penthouse where he's like, "This is my plan. You're gonna fuck your sister and make me a grandbaby." And Keanu is like, "So you mean the Antichrist?" It's my favorite moment of the movie where Pacino just kind of waits for a beat and is like, "Whatever."
Yeah.
He's not
sure.
He's like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah, I do like the version where he's just like, "No, I just wanted to be a grandpa." Like, that's
it's not. It's pretty vague. He doesn't really elaborate what he wants beyond that. He's like, it's gonna be a family business. You can infer that it's gonna be the apocalypse, and he wants to
There's a lot of
this kid will bring it in, but they never really get into the mythology. And when Keanu tries to by saying the Antichrist, it's just like, yeah, sure, if that helps you.
Yeah, whatever makes you sleep at night, I guess.
Whatever makes this concept easier for you to digest.
Right. Because it is unclear. It's just that he has plans.
Well, yeah,
he's the devil.
He's the fucking devil.
Yeah. Going back to casting, did you notice that the guy from Spaceballs is in this? Like the second in command to Rick Moranis is one of the lawyers.
Colonel Sanders.
Colonel Sanders. Yeah, he's in this. I've never seen him in anything else.
I didn't notice him.
He's the first lawyer when he's picking the jury.
When he's picking, that is him.
Yeah,
okay,
that's Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, that was him.
I thought that was funny.
There's also Jeffrey Jones.
He sure is.
The most appropriate casting.
Yeah,
he plays a ghoul working for the devil.
If they put him in the Frank Sabatka role,
right, that would be the most appropriate.
But yeah, he's in and out of this. He gets killed by muggers.
He gets beaten to death by demons.
By invisible muggers.
Demon muggers.
Yeah. There's the IMDb trivia of this, by the way, is boy.
You can't trust.
No, you can't.
That.
But it did point out that they're dressed in the colors of the Four Horsemen.
Maybe. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah. It's more like what I notice about IMDb trivia is it's often them just pointing out things in the movie. They're like, did you notice this? Like they point out the restroom thing. And it's just like, yeah. That happened in the movie. There's a lot of that.
That is part of the state of current state of film criticism, Dave. Just surface level readings of things,
pointing out things. I saw. That said, IMDb trivia has always been.
It's always been the bottom of the barrel. But yeah, I saw one thing yesterday that was like a TikTok channel about weird movie trivia, and one of them was literally just, did you notice in Toy Story 4 that Buzz Lightyear's stickers are peeling off? That was it. So yeah,
that's what movies are.
Yeah, I sure did notice that part of the storytelling we were meant to notice.
Yeah, there's a subreddit called Movie Details that is like that, which at least to their credit, Movie Details is just kind of highlighting the fact that, yeah, people think about this stuff. That's all it is like, yeah, someone's job is to think about costumes, and they sit there for all day and they think about costumes. So yeah, I hope the costumes are detailed. Speaking of trivia, surely you recognized where Craig T. Nelson's living, right?
Yeah, it's hard not to. Craig T. Nelson. So the big case in this, they have a little side case, a little build-up case where Keanu has to defend Delroy Lindo, who is doing, I guess, voodoo. He kills a goat in his basement and gets in trouble for it.
It's very weird, but yeah.
Well, it's also weird because it's like, it's meant to be like easing him in. So like we talked about it earlier, where you could just kind of cut this part out of the movie. It's not super necessary, but it's showing sort of the escalation of like Pacino gives him an unwinnable case to see how he figures out, his way out of it. But like, it's just...
But here's the weird thing. He also reveals later, like, oh, you think you won all those cases by yourself? And so it's like, oh, he's not actually good? Like, the devil is just helping him. And in that one, Delroy Lindo, like, does a curse on the other lawyer.
Yeah, that's true. He does. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So I think the idea... So there's an argument here about mediocre white dudes. Like, it's kind of, whether or not they knew it, it's about this guy kind of like doing shitty things and failing up because he has a powerful dad. Like, that's it.
To a degree, for sure. They make a comment on, well, Pacino points out, it's like, well, why do you think you win all the time? It's like you have a lot of, you do well with lady jurors, right? You're pretty charming. So it's like they sort of hint that one of the reasons he wins all the time is that he has some sort of like vampiric seductive power over the jury, like some sort of devil magic has rubbed off on him.
Or Keanu Reeves.
Right? Yes, you could sit there and just for sure. Like, he does his opening remarks about Craig T. Nelson are great. Like, they're very compelling.
Oh yeah,
from a lawyer standpoint.
Craig T. Nelson is what we're getting at. By the way, Craig T. Nelson is Trump.
He's Donald Trump.
He's a stand-in for Trump.
He is 100% supposed to be Donald Trump.
Yeah, to the point that they film his scene where he's at home in what is clearly Trump's apartment.
Yeah, it's Trump's
covered
apartment
in
in Trump Tower. Yeah,
you just know he was right off camera bothering the shit out of everybody about being in the movie. Mm-hmm. There was probably I think they mention him in one scene.
They definitely do.
Yeah, it's part of that thing we did some more news movie about. If like in the 90s, Trump was a villain. Like, that was just. We were just like, yeah, he's a bad guy. He's this guy murdering his family and living in a gold tower. Yeah. And then we made him president.
It was a thing. Weird. It was a thing we all understood. And also in the 90s, when you wanted to film in Trump Tower very often, part of his negotiation was that he would get to be in the movie. So you'll see either a lot of movies from this period that have weird cameos or, more often, deleted scenes featuring Donald Trump.
This is true. And then the Wall Street remake or sequel has a terrible deleted scene.
Yeah, where he insisted on being filmed from only that one side, and it's sweaty. Yeah, they very often would just film a scene with him to satisfy his demands and then not put it in the movie.
Because there are always scenes where the main character is like, "You're so cool," and that's it.
Yeah,
like it's
very Steven Seagal.
Yeah, basically it feels like the producers are like, "Look, we have to burn a day, but we get this location for cheap."
Yeah.
So it's like, can we get an actor in here? Can we make up a scene for Donald Trump? We won't put it in the movie. But yeah, I mean, I guess this is all circling that idea that, this is what this is a commentary on, is this world.
Yeah.
And that it's evil. That's it. That's the whole movie.
It's not complicated. It is, like we said earlier, it is not a subtle movie.
No, the answer of why lawyers I thought was really good, though, because he's like, we're everywhere.
Yeah, we're involved in everything. And you're like, every form of quote unquote sin has legal representation.
Yeah, and it was like, oh shit. Like, that's the thing, is for a movie that's very straightforward and kind of silly to a silly extent, it, like, that scene is great when he's telling everything, explaining everything. I think this is just a really well-made movie. Mm-hmm. And it's like based off just a very silly idea, because it's called The Devil's Advocate, and it's about a high-powered lawyer who's the devil, and that is just so obvious. And yet it is such a I don't know. It's such a entertaining film.
And it's also like sort of the genesis of that phrase where it's like, oh, I'm playing the devil's advocate, where it's, and that like ties into the legal angle where it's like, well, you are being the devil's advocate when you're arguing for the defense of somebody that you understand to be guilty.
Right.
But it's
just
like,
so we're clear, you're not saying
exist.
This is where that phrase was conceived, right?
No, but that's like how it's used in this like it's what I'm saying is it's obvious and silly, but there's also an elegance to it because it does work.
Yeah.
Like it is a reference to what Keanu is doing.
Right. It all works.
Yeah.
It's even when it doesn't work. Delroy Lindo is not a necessary piece. This movie feels inefficient and kind of sloppy at times.
Yeah.
And yet I'm still enjoying the shit out of it.
Yeah, it's 2.5 hours long, and I fucking was riveted the entire time.
Yeah. Everybody's really killing it. Charlize Theron has probably the hardest fucking role.
It's a brutal role, yeah.
It's a brutal role, and she's doing a great job with it.
Yeah.
It's because she's basically becoming drained throughout the movie until she's in a psych ward.
It's very
shoving a piece of glass in her neck.
It's very Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah. It's intentional. They're showing like it's tough because Keanu is not a good person, and so like it's tough to watch what's happening to Charlize Theron. Watching also him not quite like he cares, but it's too late. You know.
Yeah.
I also learned of a cutscene in this where at the initial party she walked in on a threesome, and they asked her to join, and that's why it makes a little more sense why she's like immediately like, I don't know about this guy. It just like kind of informs her character a little better.
Yeah.
But I think it works either way.
It works either way. I could see making that initial party in Pacino's penthouse a little more sinister, like a little more like The Shining.
Right, but he's doing some shit. He's telling her to put her hair up and being like creepy and weird, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it works. It's a weird movie. This is a very weird movie.
It's a fascinating film.
It really is because again, like it doesn't feel like this should be the case, but it's like I can't think of another movie like this. Like there's biblical movies, you know? Mm-hmm. But a biblical courtroom, it's not really a courtroom drama, but it has courtroom elements.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's a whole, like the second half of the movie is pretty much about him trying to figure out how to get Craig T. Nelson off for a triple homicide he clearly committed. It's a it's a concept like The Lake House, another Keanu Reeves film, where you take two things like time travel, sci-fi, and romance, and you smush them together, and it's like, I don't think those need to go together, but this is, sure. And I would argue The Lake House is not as good of a movie, but like this, where it's like devil, like The Omen, plus like a courtroom drama, and then it works. Yeah. Or like a political, like The Firm or something, you know, like it's basically that same concept, right? Which is like someone working for a company learns the company is evil. Yeah. And has to deal with that. Yeah, it's basically The Firm if Wilford Brimley was the devil. Yeah, exactly. And so like I guess the formula fits really well. Like those, it works. It's a familiar story trope or archetype. I'm not sure. Trope, yeah. Probably. It's a young person goes to a new organization that seems great at first and then finds out that it's very sinister. It's kind of why you can do time travel and romance, because romance is about second chances and moments, and you know, like those things actually go together weirdly well. You just wouldn't realize, like, think about it at first, you know? Yeah, I think this is a more successful mashing of those two ideas than, say, The Conjuring 3. Oh, yeah, well, they fucked that up. They just fucked that movie right up. That movie's terrible. That's like, that doesn't even have to do with the broad premise. It's just this is just a little more talent behind it. Who's the director? I looked them up. Taylor Hackford? Yeah. They did
I'm looking. They did a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Ray.
Dolores Claiborne. Ray. Yeah. So they know how to make a movie.
Officer and a Gentleman.
Yeah, sure.
Married to Helen Mirren. Mm-hmm. Little film called White Nights, Dave, which you might remember.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah, so they know how to make a movie.
Yeah, he's made a few. He's made a couple of White Nights in his time.
He's made a couple of weird-ass movies. It's very strange. So I kind of said that it's where Satan saved his game.
Yeah. But
Charlize Theron says this whole thing is like one big test at one point. So do you think it's actually not happening?
I think so. I think it's kind of both, because it's like it's all dependent on what choice he makes, and he ultimately decides to kill himself rather than bone Connie Nielsen and give Al Pacino a grandchild, and it sends him back to that moment. So, but then
it has to be real. Like it has to be.
It has to be real. So the movie ends with Al Pacino as the reporter. As Keanu decides not to defend Sabatka because he knows he's guilty, and it's like, I'm leaving all that behind. I've seen how gross and corrupting that can be, and then the reporter convinces him to give him an exclusive interview. It's like, yeah, we can make you a star. Your story about how you turned your back on this case because you knew it was wrong it's going to make you a sensation. So he's playing on his vanity again. So we know he's going to keep Pacino Satan, Daddy Devil,
right?
Papa Satan is going to keep trying.
Which is weird
to
because it's
him.
Like, yeah, the implication is that this moment in the bathroom is like a big moral moment.
Yeah,
a big and it is.
It is. It's the turning point of it's from that decision is what causes everything else in the movie to happen.
Right, which is funny because it does feel like he was probably shitty before that too. But this is clearly like he's never defended a pedophile. Like this is clearly like, okay, this is the worst thing you've done right now. And knowing the future where that guy, like they reveal later, he's found with a 10-year-old in his trunk who's I think dead.
A dead body.
Yeah. So it's like this is a turning point. Whether what he decides to do. It's just funny to me the idea that he's gonna so the devil is just like save game, and then he takes him down this path. And ultimately, Keanu's like, no, I reject this. And then he's like, okay, load game. I'm going to get you through media and through that vanity. But I'm really wanting to know what that plan is. Because he still ultimately is like, yeah, but I'm going to need you to fuck your sister. And
I do want to see how
this law firm.
I do want to see how it's going to get to that point. Sure.
Yeah. What is his plan at that point? Because it's not like Keanu doesn't forget. That's a key. Keanu looks he blows his brains out in front of the devil, and then he's back in the bathroom and he goes whoa, shit.
Yeah, he still has the past 6 months of memories.
Yeah, I don't know what he attributes. He's like, man, had a weird sandwich at lunch, I guess. Surely he's a little haunted by this experience, but he just sort of moves on. And I just think it's very funny that he's going to be like, yeah, we're going to get you an interview with this media company. It'll be like Al Pacino and a mustache. And he'll be like, it's the devil. Trying to do it again. Like this, it's just Al Pacino has he's a real person in this universe, right? Like he has a social security number.
Yeah, presumably.
Yeah. And so he's still just he's got this useless law firm then, right? Like that, he's going to have to shut down the law firm and start I don't know, a media company and try to or will he change and make a different law firm that does the right stuff and then hires Keanu Reeves and has to just look different the whole time. I can't imagine he can't act not like Al Pacino.
Right.
And then
that Pacino mask is going to come off at some point.
Right. And then he's going to have to try to gaslight Charlize Theron in a different way. And try to get him to fuck his sister in a different way. It just seems I don't know. It's going to be a bunch of this. And then if he fucks it up again, he's like, fuck, load game.
Yeah, back to the bathroom.
Yeah, we'll find a way. He's
been doing this for 300 years.
Right.
Yeah.
He's just been stuck in this. It's
Stuck in
Groundhog
the
Day.
same bathroom defending Frank Sabatka.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's the only ending you can have in a movie like this, right?
Yeah.
And it's part of the silliness. This movie is campy. It's silly.
It's very campy in parts.
Yeah. And so it's like this,
and also very not
interesting mix.
campy in a few other parts. It
Yeah.
just depends.
It's such a weird movie.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, I guess I like this movie.
Yeah, I think I do like this movie.
Yeah, I always enjoy watching it. The performances are always entertaining. It's heavy in some places.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the thing. It doesn't trivialize like the bad stuff that's happening.
No, it really. That's one thing I can say unequivocally to its credit is it does not sugarcoat the bad things that Keanu is going along with.
Yeah, the part where he's grilling her on the stand and she's crying, says, "I didn't want to be the only one." It's fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And they don't make it silly, nothing like that. It's just sort of, it's got that 90s camp for sure.
Yeah.
Where even when it's being serious, there's like a melodrama element, I would say. A lot of people slamming people up against walls and
it's
stuff.
extremely melodramatic. It's Al Pacino is the devil.
Yeah. It's just he's
an absentee landlord.
Like, they must know that scene is silly, right?
Yeah.
But it's also like, I don't know.
But it's also really good.
It's really good. It's hearing Al Pacino as the devil. Apparently the reason Al Pacino turned this down initially is it was a lot more of a spectacle. I imagine it was a lot more demonic and more geared towards like the jogger scene. It was probably more of a horror movie. And I guess they, by like making it more subtle,
Yeah.
with a question mark,
Yeah.
he took it on, which then he took all the subtlety out.
Right. He's Pacino. He's great. He's always going to be great. He really goes for it in that last monologue.
He's screaming, and they light him like he's the devil.
Yeah, they light him like the devil. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's just doing I'm the devil.
Yeah. It's great. It is great. Yeah. It is why we invented video cameras.
Yeah. For this. Yeah. It's yeah, so I feel like this is a movie people have to see at least once.
Yeah.
A year. Once a year.
Yeah. It's appointment viewing once a year. Put it in your calendar.
Now, at least once, just because it is a fascinating film, and I don't know. I feel like some people are going to watch it and be like, "This is dumb." Yeah, and it is. It's also dumb. It's just.
It is dumb, but it's also sweet. I don't like it's.
I can't help
it also
but to enjoy
rules.
it.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a good comparison, and it's really just any '90s thriller. Like Chain Reaction, another Keanu Reeves. Like anything like that, where it's like, yeah, this is like actually Chain Reaction is a really good example, because Chain Reaction is a movie that we in our culture think of like, that's a silly movie, right? That's just like a silly dumb movie.
Sure.
But then you watch it and you realize, oh, it is the director of The Fugitive, and it's got another cast where you're like, oh, it's that guy and that guy and that guy, and fucking Michael Shannon.
Michael Shannon is an FTD delivery man.
Yeah, and the movie doesn't fuck. Like, that movie doesn't fuck.
No, it does not fuck. That movie is chaste.
Yes, but but it does have moments where you're like, oh, right, there's actual like talent behind this. And this is a movie, I think Devil's Advocate is like, feels kind of like a joke. Mm-hmm. And then you watch it and you're like, oh, right.
I think that, it's sort of like Training Day in the sense that there's just too much talent in it. So that it elevates the material from what it actually is, like on the page.
All right. Now that you say that, Denzel is the devil. Like, remake this.
He is in Training Day, but yeah.
No, but just remake it with this
remake the Devil's Advocate with Denzel.
Yeah, the Denzel's Advocate.
I could, yeah. Well,
is that anything?
Sure.
Is this anything? He plays himself. Have him play himself, but also the devil.
But also the devil.
Yeah, the plot being that Denzel Washington is the devil from Fallen. Another movie people underestimate. good.
No,
Well,
I feel like
that
Fallen
movie-
is like is remembered exactly the way it's supposed to be remembered.
As a single meme that people do when they think celebrities died.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that has an all-star cast, man. That has some great performances. That has John Goodman in it.
Uh-huh.
And James Gandolfini.
Sure.
And Donald Sutherland.
Yep.
And Casey Jones.
Those are all correct things that you're saying.
Yeah. And Denzel.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I don't think I have any more to say about The Devil's Advocate.
No, so now we're talking about Fallen.
Yeah, we could do... You want to do a little more about Fallen?
No.
Okay.
That is another movie that I haven't seen since the 90s.
Oh, you got to see it again. I think you'll be surprised.
I don't think I will.
Fallen is another one that I watch once a year. It's all right. Fallen is the closest to something like this, where it's like, what a weird... Because Fallen is basically a serial killer movie, but a demon. And that's like, oh, yeah, that works perfectly. Like, it's like detective hunting a serial killer that happens to be a demon. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I think that works.
Yeah.
I think America is ready to love Fallen again.
America is ready to embrace Fallen.
Yeah.
In a way that it didn't in its initial release.
Listen, Burrito Mouth, thanks so much. Thank you, Burrito Mouth, for telling us to watch The Devil's Advocate. I was going to watch it either way.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we got to talk about it.
Now we had an excuse to, so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a movie.
It's The Devil's Advocate. I don't know. Watch it.
It's The Devil's Advocate.
It is both.
Like you said, it's like the ocean. It's just there.
It's always there. It's always there, just waiting for you. It is both exactly the movie you think it is and also not really the movie you think it is.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it before, you probably know the spoilers already because it's just a thing.
Yeah, I mean, like Fallen, you know all the memed stuff.
Yeah. So I think you'd still be surprised by it.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. If you're interested, you could take a look at our Patreon. That's patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. If you go on there, you find exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman and Fox Mulder is a Maniac. We also do podcasts with the small beans, such as Spiel Boys and Star Trek The Next Futurama. You can check that out. You can also watch movies with us every Friday night for a little more. You can also produce podcasts like this one.
Yeah, like this one. You can make us watch Fallen.
You can make us watch Fallen again. Not that anybody needs to make me watch that. I might watch that tonight.
Oh, I mean, you've earned it.
I've already watched it this month, but you know what?
Watch it again. Dave.
Watch it again.
You've earned it.
I've earned it.
We also have a store. Head over to gamefullyunemployed.com. You'll find a link to our Teespring store. We have all kinds of cool original artwork and designs you can get on t-shirts, mugs, stickers, posters, so check that out. And leave us a review. Leave us a little bit of a review.
Yeah.
Do that thing.
We'll read them.
Yeah, we probably will. It also helps.
I do read them. I do read them. I read them every now and then, and I
and while I'm watching
touch my
Fallen.
nipples. Yeah. And I watch Fallen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect evening.
It's a perfect evening, yeah. Dim the lights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some chocolate-covered strawberries. I read our reviews.
Romantic night with me and Denzel.
me and Fallen.
Yeah.
Me and Elias Koteas.
Yep. He's in it.
He is in it.